Joining us now is Bloomberg restaurant reporter Daniela Sirtori. All right, how do we say the name of this?
Thank you.
Why is it everywhere? And is there anything left that I can eat? Because it seems like all of my food is coming for me.
All right, Cyclospora, the parasite, Cyclosporiasis, the disease.
There we go. Okay, thank you.
Very much.
There we go, yes. And definitely, Michigan actually, as you guys were saying, told people that lettuce is fine now after warning people to stay off salad mixes because of this parasite, which has infected tons of people in the state. And the interesting part of this is that the rate of infections has been just so much higher than in prior years. I mean, it's a seasonal type of parasite. People eat more salads in the summer. It's hot out. But this year, it's just been off the charts, basically.
Daniela, walk us through the way this has become kind of manifest in the bottom lines of a lot of these restaurants. You reported on Sweetgreen, the salad chain, which I should note has not been having any difficulties whatsoever with this particular parasite, but is feeling the knock-on effects of this. Talk a bit more about that, just kind of like how this parasite existing in some of our guts, but mostly in our psyches, is affecting the way that people are buying food, going to restaurants right now.
Absolutely. So, since the Cyclospora outbreak, basically Americans all over the country have been really spooked to eat anything with lettuce. The interesting part is that the outbreak, it is large, but it was only related to iceberg lettuce provided by a supplier called Taylor Farms, sold in restaurants like Taco Bell. It did go to other, retailers like Walmart. So it did have a broad reach, but it was only iceberg lettuce. Sweetgreen doesn't even sell iceberg lettuce, but it was just a chilling effect that this parasite had that basically made people pull back from anything that was basically heavy on leafy greens. And so Sweetgreen was already struggling because of its own missteps. The company has admitted that its prices were too high, that perhaps its offerings weren't really resonating with people. And so it was already on a turnaround plan. And then this parasite comes along and basically it forced the company to cut its annual outlook even more. So previously they expected that sales at their established restaurants were going to fall by about 4%, as much as 4%. Now they expect as much as 8%, simply because of the fact that people are scared of lettuce, basically. And, it's also worth it to know, it's not just that Sweetgreen's supply chain hasn't been hit by this. They don't even serve iceberg lettuce.
I should say they do not. It's arugula and other spring mixes that I get when I go to Sweetgreen.
I also did just look up if there is a DSM-specific order for fear of lettuce. There is not, although there might be after this.
Yeah.
That's good. But,
it's not just lettuce. Now we've got this potential Salmonella outbreak. It's tied 27 illness clusters have been reported at Chipotle and Qdoba locations in 7 states, likely somewhere in the ingredient mix of jalapeños, red onions, cilantro, avocado. Bon Appetit has an article out right now called American Food Safety is in its flop era. Is this going to put a bigger burden on the private sector to self-police if the government isn't doing it, but it is going to start impacting their bottom line?
So it's interesting to see the sequence of events here. So even for a company like Chipotle, which has pretty advanced systems that allow it to know where basically everything in its supply chain has been, right? So when the company found that the jalapeños that they use for the guacamole could be, tainted with the salmonella, they have this system where they can go in and pretty quickly pinpoint where this ingredient has been, who the supplier is, and all of that. So I would say that in that regard, a lot of companies have definitely come quite far when it comes to being able to really understand their supply chains. But, the order of events still is that a state, for example, in this case, it was Minnesota, has to tell the company that they're seeing illnesses, right? And so it does matter, when states such as Minnesota have a functioning system, like a functioning unit that tracks, foodborne illnesses there. We should say that as of now, this outbreak with Salmonella has been tied to jalapeños from a specific supplier. There have already been recalls in place, and restaurants such as Chipotle and Qdoba as well actually removed the ingredient from their restaurants before the information even became public. So actually, Bloomberg News was first to report this on Monday, on August 4th, that Chipotle was linked to this outbreak. And by then, the jalapeños were already out of the restaurants. And so basically the health authorities have come out and said, look, like, because these restaurants were able to act pretty quickly, we don't think that there's like an ongoing risk. Like, they're not really telling people to stay away from restaurants. Unlike with the Cyclospora outbreak, in the early days with Taco Bell, some of the federal health authorities actually did come out and say, hey guys, don't eat this lettuce at Taco Bell in these particular states.
Daniela, great to speak with you. Daniela Sirtori joining us this morning. Cyclospora, say it one more time for me.
Cyclosporiasis.
There we go. I'm going to say it 5 times during this next commercial break.